Hello and welcome to another Let's Play of Eldfall Chronicles Northern Wind. As you can see here, after the fourth quest, Sagan and Nara were incapacitated, while Theros got a weak point. But I forgot to do something last time, and that is Secret Rock, Rescued Heroes. I just looked it up afterwards, and since we rescued all prisoners, we get Chandra and Tomori. And I just wanted to share this little bit of lore with you. Among the row of captives, one figure stands apart, while the other hangs limp in defeat. She kneels upright, defiant. Feathers cling to her shoulders, tangled and rather worn, and dried blood strains the pulse dripped from her belt. The bindings bite into her wrist, bruises bloom beneath her skin, yet her eyes burn with undimmed fury. As you draw closer, her head snaps, one eye is swollen shut, but the other looks into you like a drawn blade. Chandra, so, more scavengers come to gawk. She spits blood on the ground. Get it over with, or cut me loose and hand me something sharp. She shifts against her restraints, a motion born more of instinct than hope. You break her bones. She meets your gaze and smirks curling across her bloodied lips. Well, you look like someone who's held steel before. Good. You'll need it, because I'm not crawling out of here. I'm going to make them regret not finishing the job. Join me if you want. Just don't get in my way. So now we can invite Chandra to join our party, or decline her offer. And our party sadly cannot be more than 4 people. And in this instance, I will decline her offer because I decided to play the first campaign I'm playing with the original 4 heroes we can see here. So, sad but true. Politely decline. Her jaws tighten. Chandra, fine. I don't need a warband to get my revenge. I hope you survive. There's disappointment but no anger. Only her resolve. And now Chandra does not join our party, but she becomes an ally, which we can call once per campaign. And similar we will go with Tomoe. A few paces from the other captives, beneath a gentle drizzle of a rain cloud that hovers over her alone, a woman sits in her restraints, elegant, composed, and utterly out of place. Her dark hair clings to her neck in damp waves. As you approach, her eyes flutter open. You are not with them. Good. I've had enough demons for one lifetime. She shifts slightly, her voice smooth and low, laced with dry humor. You will forgive me for not standing. The accommodations are somewhat limiting. The rain above her intensifies for a moment, then softens again. You feel her restraints. You free her restraints, and she rises with deliberate grace, shaking the water from her sleeves. With a practiced motion, she unfastens the broad hat strapped on her back and places it on her head. And yes, before you ask, this little cloud follows me everywhere. Very charming, hence the hat. She pauses, then adds, if you are heading towards the rift, I would like to follow. I'm searching for a way home. I sense the rift may point me in the right direction. Tilting her head slightly, she studies you. Besides, it's been a while since I've had decent company, if you will have me. And similar as to Chandra, a polite decline. Her smile softens with understanding, and she bows slightly, the rain above her giving a gentle rumble like a sign. No offense taken, I've wandered longer alone than I care to admit. I'll find my road, so long as it doesn't lead straight down. She tips her head. Stay dry then. On tomorrow also will not join our party, and she also will become ally. So we have 2 potential allies. And the next thing I wanted to show you is that here in our Mount Bodo Summit Gateway, we will finally get introduced to synergy cards. And I decided to go with Veteran's Intuition, which provides the modal if we unlock it with the Foresight skill. And to unlock it, whenever a hero suffers the incapacitated state, place a synergy card on this card. So, and we can see here, with the 2 token marks here, we have a total of heroes going down or getting the incapacitated state 2 times. To unlock this card, afterwards we can allocate this card to one of our 4 heroes. Not sure who I want to use this on so far. I assume that it will be not Anari because she gets the Foresight skill because of her Arcane Monocle, which is basically just 1 item slot for the skill. But before that, we will place it up here and have to unlock it during our game. Furthermore, still not ready before the game, sorry that it takes so long, but since Sagan and Nara are incapacitated, I have looked up from about the journey and especially the rest. And as you can see here, it is possible to rest by advancing the time period one by one, and this will restore all HP and remove all states and remove one weak point. So this is absolutely something I want to do because I just don't want to start with only 2 heroes and 2 incapacitated. Therefore, before we do any other events, we have to go up here to the moon dial and continue from dawn to day. Going back, we are allowed to heal all wounds, therefore Sagan and Nara are up to speed. Just putting the token back to where they belong. And Sagan still keeps 1 weak token and Theros loses his weak token. Just doing some small repairs, I assume, at their armor and caring for some bruises. So, and now we have to go back to the beginning of the book, or to the quest log, because we have to take a look at the Mount Biodo map. We are still at the Hilltop Temple where we just have rested. And now to get to the next quest, Mount Biodo Summit Gateway, we have to make 2 events. So, and the way this works is, we have our event deck, I shuffled it previously, we draw a card, resolve it, and afterwards advance the timer. So, going with the first one, we have the Ghost Procession. The sound of approaching footstep echoes off the mountain wall. Suddenly, a procession of spirits, the Hyakiyako, sorry that I butchered the name, I'm pretty sure I did. The parade of 100 spirits marches before you, the ethereal forms drifting past. You feel an overworldly pull. So, and now we have 2 options. We can join the procession and try to find out what they are foretelling, or we can avoid the procession and let it pass. I have not looked it up previously, and I am really curious what they are up to. So, even if this might be a dumb idea, I will go with the first option. I will join the procession and try to find out what they are foretelling. So with this, we have to go at the back of the book to the event E17 minus 1. E16, E17 minus 1. Here we are. Join the procession and try to find out what they are foretelling. The spirits weave around you in fluid hypnotic motion. Colors, sounds, and sensations sharpen into a dreamlike intensity, blurring the boundary between illusion and reality. Gradually, a force tugs on you back towards the mortal world as the spirits begin to fade. Some who enter this realm lose their way entirely, vanishing without a trace, while others are granted only a fleeting glimpse of the supernatural before they are abruptly cast out. One hero must suffer 1 wound at the start of the next quest. After the field setup, look at the top 3 cards of the Chaos deck and arrange them in any order. So, since only Sagan has more than 1 wound, he will definitely receive this wound. Okay, but we are allowed to look up the 3 top cards of the Chaos deck and arrange them in any order we want, which might be interesting because here we have our Chaos deck. I will just do that before I forget that. Putting the Ghostly Procession there, advancing the token by 1, and let's just have a look what we will have. Raging Animus, Sleet, and Reckless Abandon. So with this, I think I will... Extra AP is bad. This one is Sweep 1. Most of the opponents we are most likely to faith half it, so I'll put the weather down. Actually, let's just put a 4th card because I think that the weather check is before all this, so therefore we have the weather sleet. We'll do that later, and I will just put it here. Put up the other 3 cards. I will shuffle this between recordings, and we have Freezing Wind, Brief Respite. One hero may spend 1 AP to remove 1 wound, and a different 2 different heroes may spend an AP to remove either wound or weak points. So these are really good. Brief Respite will be reshuffled into the deck. Regroup will not. Therefore, I will just put it this way around. 2 heroes may put that, and then 1 hero may spend an AP to put this there. And the weather effect, I will use it to immediately cancel the sleet condition. So this was the first one. And the second one, Yukiona. So let's get it into view. Lost in the blizzard, you push forward as a haunting wail pierces the winds. A woman's mournful cry. Through the snow you glimpse her, the Yukiona, the deadly snow woman cradling a frostbitten lover, her frozen tears binding her to the lifeless form. We can try to appease the spirit, loot the dead body of a lover, or ignore the apparition and continue up the mountain. I assume that the advance time by 1 is an addition, or is it only for the last one? I think this is for the last. Here for the last one it is, because we have here another symbol. Honestly, looting the bodies might be interesting, but I will try to appease the spirit. Going more into the pacifist run. So we have to go to E16 and E16-1. Try to appease the spirit. You approach quietly, offering gentle words and to comfort. The spirit nods, then dissolves with her lover into the mist, leaving a token of gratitude. A chill lingers and you pause to warm yourself before moving on. Advanced time by 1 time period. Receive protective talisman upgrade and Fate K. So, not only did we advance by 1 token because of the event, we also advanced it by another one because of the Yukiona. So, here we go. We have done our 2 events. I will just get out the protective talisman and the Fate K token, reshuffle the deck, put the other 3 on top, and I'll see you afterwards. Just to keep you up, I also, after I rotated the moon dial for the first time, I put up the day counter by 1. So therefore we already have spent 1 day and just got out of the tutorial. And also because my heroes have quite some stuff with them, I will use the storage rule where I can put in the journey phase store access items upgrades I wish not to keep on my person, and before each quest and before drawing an event card, I can reorganize my inventory. So I will have quite a number of daggers. I will put these to the side. The hatchet I will give Nari, or let's go with the short sword. The hatchet can be thrown, so therefore this is for Sagan. And the protective talisman, if the wearer would sustain more than 1 weak point or wounds, reduce the total to 1 of each, discard afterwards. Since all my heroes have only 1 wound, 1 wound, 1 wound, 3 wounds, I will also store for the moment the protective talisman. And otherwise, I think I am fine with this. Yeah, because Nara can try to use the war club to hit some enemies. I will put my storage up here. Maybe turn it sideways so that I remember that this is my storage. Here we go. And now I already placed the heroes at the entrance, even with all the wounds and weak points. But what we are up to is, after setting up camp for a short rest, a fleeting sense of respite washes over you, easing your weariness, if only for a moment, as you prepare to progress on. The weight of your mission settles heavy on your shoulders. The Empire relies entirely on you to act swiftly. The countdown has already begun. The red moon will rise in 13 days, and its ominous promise looms over every step you take. Okay, no, it's only 2 days. Deep down, you know, help will not arrive in time, and the split in the mountains bodes nothing good. Your throat tightens, but you steady yourself. This is your burden to bear. Following the trail marked on Asano's map, the terrain shifts. A gentle incline steepens into a sharp descent, disappearing into the mist below. Just a little further, you say, scanning the path ahead. Once we descend, we will reach the summit gateway. The summit gateway marks the final crossroad before the true ascent to Byodo begins. It serves as the natural divide of the Mount Byodo range, where the path fractures into 3 distinct roads, each winding through treacherous terrain towards the summit. So, place the tiles in environment and encounter token 1, and place heroes. So I already did it here. As I said, dense weather, sleet, all counts as dense environment. And I also mentioned already that we have the synergy card, which I will try to unlock Veteran's Intuition. And as we can see here, the quest ends if all heroes leave the field through the exit. So, beginning with the hero's turn, we already see here a climbing token or an elevation token, therefore we have to spend an action to climb up. I will just have a quick look. Dense reach is 1 square and attack suffers -1 strike. Mountain and flying models cannot enter, so no sleets. This is because of the sleet. And we have here somewhere the elevation. Here, elevation. Use climb or jump to move over. Cannot engage through elevation. Melee attacks below within 1 reach can target only adjacent higher ground. Higher ground models have light cover against attacks from lower ground. So, quite a bummer in the road. And this is the reason why I think I will use, first of all, Nara to activate. Nara will walk, since she has the climbing and leap skill as well as stealth, she will use 1-2, getting into a space where the encounter 1 is triggered. And let's see what's happening. The biting wind tears at your cloak, carrying with it sharp needles of frost. Finally, you reach the main road again, its stone edges barely visible beneath the thin sheet of snow and ice. Ahead, the area brims with motion, a mix of marauding augurs and lifeless sentinels. You pause, perplexed. The undead, typically aimless and erratic on their hunting, now seem disturbingly coordinated. Worse still, they appear to be in concert with the augurs, who move with an unusual sense of order. Whatever force binds these two, it is no accident. So, place Forgotten Hero on 1, facing away from encounter 1. 1 is looking at here, is here, looking away. So, it's the left. We will put him there. Next, on 2, facing away from encounter 1. 2 is 2 spaces. Let's put him up here. And place encounter token on 3. What is the quest rule? All hostiles are distracted during the hostile's turn. Discarded hostiles activate once and rotate. Distracted hostiles activate once and rotate 180 degrees. Once a hostile gains line of sight to a hero, this rule no longer applies to any of them. So, I will search for encounter 2, place them, and then we will continue. So I placed the encounter 2 token, also looked up the dense token. I forgot that Nara can enchant herself. Since I used it the last time so often, I will go with Spectral Sight once again. So advantage against undead. But she still has a third space she can walk. And since opponents will rotate because they are distracted. I will go with Nara up to here, and I will cast with her. She has Necromancy 3. Here we are. So I think I will cast with her. For this she has to get mana points for Command Undead. Now, with her other space, she will just walk back to avoid any line of sight. And next, I think I will, just move the whole party up one space. Sagan just goes up one space. Theros and Anari. And I think Anari will, in her 2 activations, Anari will cast some buffing spells. She will cast Burning Touch onto Sagan. And she will cast, once again, Burning Touch on Nara, so that, wait. She will cast Cutting Chill on Nara. Enchanted models gain +2 power. Its attack is immobilized, so these 2. Then I will just play it out. The hostiles. Looking at the quest rule. Distract the hostile activate once and rotate 180 degrees. Once a hostile against line of sight, so it will activate and rotate. This one will activate and rotate, therefore he has no line of sight because of the black spaces. But before that, Chaos card. Weather, oh no, what a surprise. And the sleet is cancelled out. Therefore this token is removed. So, now on to the second turn of the heroes. Nara will enchant herself. The rest of the party will basically do the same as previously. They will wait so that it is the next hostile's turn. Drawing another card. We have regrouped. 2 different heroes may spend an AP each to remove either a wound or weak point. In this case, since it is his reactive phase, he will spend one of his reactive points to remove 1 weak point. Just to get a little bit more leeway. And now the opponents will turn once again. And now comes the interesting part. So, the hero's 3rd turn already. And I will start. Nara will enchant herself. And she will enchant herself with the... I'm thinking about one of these 3. I could also go with this one. Cleave and Poison in hope to attack the Oni Marauder. Since this will give Cleave and Poison, 2 wounds at once and Poison 2. Which might be interesting with the armor piercing and stagger. So yeah, I think I will try to overwhelm the Oni Marauder. So she will cast onto herself the Necrotic Wounds spell, enchanted. And I made a mistake last time. AP is not for armor points but for activation points, so without activation points. But since this time she will attack with her War Club. She will immediately activate 1, 2, 3. And she will attack the Oni Marauder. So just putting the token away. The Oni Marauder in his reactive phase. Line of sight to the enemy within. It is not the case because he has his target. Target of attack outside of 1 inch or no line of sight. It's no line of sight. So the Oni Marauder will try to dodge at its agility of 6. while Nara tries to hit it with the War Club at 13. Let's try to see if Nara can hit the Oni Marauder. With a roll of 5, this is definitely a hit. The Oni Marauder needing an 8 or less. With a 20, it absolutely did not manage to dodge this. So now, let's start. First of all, stagger. The Oni Marauder was hit, therefore it loses another activation point. Out of activation points, but nevertheless it dodges into the same space as Nara. Now, armor piercing. The Oni Marauder armor of 3 is reduced to 1.5, rounded up to 2. Nara gets a total toughness of +3 for its power, so 15 minus 2, she needs a 13 or less to wound. And a 17 is not enough, therefore this confers a weak point against the Oni Marauder. Now, the Oni Marauder out of action. Nara will try to hit the Oni Marauder again, needing a 13 or less to hit. With a 10, it is enough to hit the Oni Marauder, since it is staggered. Wait a second. I think I remember that staggered only works within 2 sizes, and the Oni Marauder is above it. Doesn't affect more 2 or more sizes larger than the attacker. Therefore, the Oni Marauder will react. He will try to hit as many as above, so he will make a melee attack of its own with a defense of 10. And it rolls a natural 1, which is really bad for Nara. Luckily it was her second attack already. So, the Oni Marauder hits Nara, who has to power of 15, 19, no armor, so therefore 19 or less. I'm thinking, sorry, I will just, since I got this wrong, I will just rewind it a little bit. So, because then I wouldn't have attacked with Nara, because the chance of attacking with the Oni Marauder is really too risky. Instead, what I will do is I would try to dodge with Nara. I totally misthought that about with the staggering. Sorry for that, guys. Do we have any other options? No. So therefore Nara would stay where she would try to dodge, and the Oni Marauder target attack would not react to it, but it could try an attack of opportunity, but no. It's not on the reactive card. Nara would try to dodge. 16, she would fail if the Oni Marauder would have tried to hit her. But with that, Nara will just dodge 1 and 2 spaces up here, getting away from the Oni Marauder. And now I would make a climb action with Sagan to just get over the area, and then immediately let's not start with Sagan, let's start with Theros Nuts, because Theros is the range attack, that makes more sense. And he has a climb, 1, 2, 3, he will go up to this space, and he will shoot at the Oni Marauder, who will now react by once again dodging towards the hero. That makes more sense. Theros needs a 16 or less. With an 8 he hits, the Oni Marauder needs an 8 or less. With an 8, the Oni Marauder successful dodges, and 1 space towards Theros. Now I will activate Sagan, who will spend his first activation to just climb above. And since here we are having 2 space slots per space, Sagan is already adjacent, and therefore Sagan can now use his, before he activates, he is able to attack later, but Anari will just use her activation to also climb up and enchant Sagan with the Cutting Chill spell, because when an enchanted model hits a target with a melee attack, the target becomes immobilized. That's the whole idea currently. And now Sagan will attack. He will use his Stone Splitter Nagamaki, which has strike equal to stamina. Therefore, he will has 2 attacks. The Oni Marauder has not. This time, he really has no activation points left. So he will try to put some wounds onto the Oni Marauder. Unopposed 13 or less. These are 2 hits. Therefore, the Oni Marauder is already. Where is it? I don't see it right now. The foot with the chain on it. Here. The Oni Marauder is definitely immobilized. And Sagan has the chance. He gets +2, I believe. +2 from the Cutting Chill. +2 from the Nagamaki. So +4 in total. 17 -3, 14 or less to wound the Oni Marauder. Yeah, 17 and 18, not enough, but enough to put 2 additional, or was it 1? I think it was 1. It's quite a time. Does not suffer result. 1 weak point exploit. Yeah, only 1 weak point per turn. Sorry. So the Oni Marauder now has 2. Sagan is also out of activations. Next, the Forgotten Hero will turn once again. So let me see what will Immobilize do. Ignore armor. States immobilized. No movement or special action. Cancel with a successful dodge. When dodging, cannot move or enter. Cancels crouch state unless successful. So with no movement, I assume that he is also not allowed to make any turns. But do we have any? We have Frost. So that he would hit us nevertheless with a range attack. These 3 are engaged with the Oni Marauder because of his reach. So I assume Theros will activate next. He's in the same space as the Oni Marauder and in close combat. So he will attack with his sword, which gives +1 strike in the active roll when attacking an enemy that has melee reach around the same space only, which is not the case. So Theros only has 2 attack die. But before that, Anari will cast the Burning Touch spell on Theros. And with that, now Theros will attack. 2 strikes against the helpless Oni Marauder. 3 and a 10, both are hitting. He's also using his Assassination 1. So power is toughness 11, +6 is 13 in total. And the Oni Marauder has armor of 3, so 14 or less. 16 and 5. This is the first wound on the Oni Marauder. And this time it's a 3rd weak point. Therefore, now this can be exploited, most likely in the first activation of the Oni Marauder. So, with this, I will go straight to the hostiles activation. And usually, since we have now hostiles of different tiers, normally you would activate the hostile with the lowest tier first, but the Oni Marauder on his active side has activate first, use demon when possible. And with this, the Oni Marauder will attack first, as mentioned in his hostile card. And what will the heroes do? The Oni Marauder will try to attack Theros. So, with this, the adjacent spaces because of his sweep 1 here. I assume that it will also hit this one. So here and here he will sweep. Which means that Anari will make a dodge. The same is true for Theros. And Sagan is unable to use a protector because he's not 1 space away, but 2. Therefore, I think that all of my heroes will just try to dodge the Oni attack. So, starting with the Oni, 14 or less because of his offense value. These are 2 2s. Yeah, I just forgot that I could have exploited the reaction, so that's on me. Starting with Anari, it's okay, it's a complex game. I know that some of you might complain in the comments, but since I have the weak points I will exploit, and Sagan has defense 14, Sagan will attack, but still Anari has a 14, so she fails the dodge. Theros will try to dodge with his agility of 13. It's a 12, he is successful. So Theros has won there. And now Sagan with only 1 strike. And he will use his fencing 3-second wind to get a second strike. So 14 or less. And most likely will exploit. Yep, he will, with a 15 and a 14, he will use the weak points to exploit and gain a critical hit and cancel out the other attacks. So, with this, the natural 1 beats the 2 2s, therefore Sagan wins it. He has a total power of still boosted by chilling, cutting chill. Has 17, minus 3, 14 or less. And with a 14, this is just enough to put another wound onto the Oni Marauder. So, okay, slow but steady. These 2 dodged even if it was not successful, therefore these 2 dodge here and here. I put it this way so that they have line of sight to both directions. And now the Oni Marauder once again will try to attack. It will attack once again Sagan. And Sagan will do the same as previously and try to attack himself to make a confrontation out of this. Oni Marauder needing 14 or less. Natural 1 and 1. Also, I think Nara will activate and dodge a little bit closer. And now the Sagan. Also 2 natural 1s. This is huge. So we have 3 natural 1s. The 11 is obviously not relevant in this case. But the Oni Marauder also gets the bleed state I just noticed. Bleeding, toughness roll, and strategy phase. Okay. Let me just put a reminder, because as you just saw, I already forgot about this trait. Here it is. Here's the bleeding trait. Here it is. So the Oni Marauder hits Sagan, needing a 19 or less to wound. It's a natural 20, so the Oni Marauder fails. Sagan, since he also ignores armor, supported by the cutting chill, has a total power of 17, so 17 or less. It's a 16 and a 15, which are 2 wounds, which is up to the 4 wounds of the Oni Marauder, who only has 2 other wounds. So Sagan was able to cut the Oni Marauder down, even when it was a bit messy because of the mistakes I made, which, as it says in the beginning, it is quite a complex game. And yeah, I just wanted to play it as I would have if I would have remembered the rules a little bit more. So now a huge effort got into the cutting down the Oni Marauder, But we have still the Forgotten Hero, who will activate once, turn, and with this, he will be no longer distracted. Therefore, we have line of sight, and enemy is outside, target of melee attack. Sorry, I would turn it to the active. Use marksman if idle. Here. Let me just put it here. Use marksman if idle, which he will do now. Now, enemy engaged is not the case. Line of sight, enemy outside is the case, so he will stay idle. And now, enemy line of sight, attack with corroded warbow. And he will attack Anari, because she's the caster, which will trigger quite a few reactions, basically 3, from Theros, Nara, and Anari. Anari will shoot with a spell. She will cast a spell. Theros will shoot with a Thanian crossbow, and Nara will just dodge 2 spaces closer to this whole mess, back to the party. So, turning because they are attacked. Oh, actually not, sorry. Since it's a defensive role, she will only have strike 1, and therefore she will just use the, yeah, it's still, I think, the best, or in this case she will use the ice spike. Yeah, she will attack with the ice spike. Theros will attack with the Thanian crossbow, but for the confrontation, let's have a look. The corroded warbow, it's the uppermost weapon, it has only strike 1. So, since he used his marksman class and he is accuracy 14, he will need an 18 or less to hit Anari. With a 15 he hits. Anari needs 14 or less, or critical hit in this case. Natural 20 is not enough. The corroded warbow has stagger 1, she has no activation points left, and poison 1. But let's see if he can wound her. Power is equal to toughness. Toughness is 13, 13 or less, minus 2, so 11 or less. 17 is not enough to wound, therefore the poison trait, if a model suffers a wound. Therefore nothing happened, but Theros is still able to attack. Plus 3 because of the reach, and this will cause 16 or less, sorry. It's a 13, therefore a hit. Using his assassination 1, he's total of 19, the armor is 6, so 13 or less to wound. With a 16, this is not enough, but enough for a wound token. Since he had to turn, use his first activation point there, the second activation point was his attack. This was all of the hostiles' third turn. Now, let's jump right back to the hero's next turn, where all the enchantment token go away, except of Nara's, because she will immediately use her artificial to enchant herself. And I just have to look up what I will use it for. Her artificial ability will be used to cast... I really want to use Command Undead, but the problem is that I need mana for it to control a level 2. The caster this spell cannot be negated by elemental essence and does not cause confrontation. To succeed, the caster must perform a number of int rolls equal to the target's tier, so in this case 2. May spend an amount of mana with each one, guaranteeing a successful int roll. Spending at least 1 mana allows control of level 2 undead. So I have definitely spent a mana counter, and this is, I can get it with Soul Leech. The caster gains 1 mana counter whenever the enchanted model successfully deals a wound. So it does not have to be herself, but she has to enchant another model. But in this case, I think I will go with herself because she has a War Club. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's start with Sagan, who will 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. When will he react? Activated model. Enemy within target of melee or line of sight attack. Okay, so yeah, I will definitely start with Sagan, because Sagan will start with movement and then dodge. 1, 2 here. Then he will dodge while the Forgotten Hero attacks with his Corroded Warbow. Corroded Warbow, it's a natural 1, not why I have chosen Sagan, who would normally manage to dodge, but since it's a critical hit, he is unable to dodge it. So he will lose his second activation point, and the Warbow has a power of 13 still, 13 or less because it ignores armor, and with a 2, Sagan gets not only a second wound, but he is also poisoned 1, becomes weakened state until his next strategic phase. Weakened was the broken shield. This is this one. And weakened causes him to common traits, state half toughness and -1 strike. So nasty for our melee guy, but not as nasty because he nastier is that he lost his activation point, the second one. And now Theros will activate. He will attack the Forgotten Hero with his Thenian crossbow. So to confrontation, the Forgotten Hero needs a 14. With an 11, he has it. Theros needs a 16 or less. With a 5, he managed, but since this is confrontation, the Forgotten Hero has won the confrontation. And he will need a 13 usually, minus armor 2, it's an 11 or less. With a 14, this is not enough to wound Theros, who will get a weak point. Now that the Forgotten Hero is out of activation, excuse me, Nara will activate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, she will use a run action to get into the same space as the Forgotten Hero. And now Nara will use her War Club. Yeah, because of the armor 6, she will use the War Club to hopefully hit the defenseless Forgotten Hero. Wait a second, before she does this, I think that Anari still has to say something. Anari will also enchant. Yeah. Anari will walk 1 space back with the first activation because of these two has 8 spaces reach, and then she will cast Burning Touch as well as Cutting Chill on Nara to boost the damage output with her 2 activations. And since Anari is an enchanter, she does not have to spend any activations. And now Nara will attack, and she gets a total bonus of +2 to power. Sweep 1, burn 1, that is more important. Total toughness would be 14, 17. Yeah, she will still use the War Club. So 1 strike, 13 or less. Are we lucky? No, absolutely not, with a 7. So this is the hero's turn, but still Sagan is able to use his ranger class to walk 2 spaces up to Nara. Now the next hostile class, I'm just thinking I might have forgotten to draw a Chaos card. Let's just do it now because it's the hostile's turn. One hero may spend 1 activation point to remove 1 wound, which Sagan in this instant will also do, just to stay a little bit longer in the fight. I totally forgot that. Okay, I will just keep it there. And shuffle this back into the deck. I will do it at the end of the turn. Now, since the Forgotten Hero is active, and he is engaged, he will enemy attack with his Corroded Sword, which will hit Nara. But Sagan will spend his other activation to use his protector skill, get into contact with get into the same space, will attack, will get the new target of the Forgotten Hero, and Nara will use this chance to attack with the War Club, once again, unopposed. So this is the first activation of the Forgotten Hero. His Corroded Sword has 2 strikes against Sagan. Natural 1 and a 14. He has an offense of 14, so 2 hits. He has a power of toughness -2, so therefore 11 or less. The natural 1 will 11 or less. It's a 4, this is 1 wound, and the other one minus armor 5. Therefore it's a total of 7 or less, which is not a hit, but it is still another wound and a weak point for Sagan. And now Nara will activate her first activation. She will use, once again, her War Club and hope she will hit this time. Only a defense of 10. And it's a 11, not enough. Now the Forgotten Hero will once again activate. And he will... what will he do? He will attack Nara. Yeah, he will attack Nara. Nara will try to dodge this. So it's 2 strikes for the Forgotten Hero. 11 and 19, it's 1 hit. Nara has an agility of 12 or less. With a 3, she successfully managed to dodge 1 space away. So now the poison state is until it's a model suffers a weak wound with a trait, becomes weakened until its next strategic phase, which will be now. So therefore Theros loses the weakened trait. Nara once again, as the enchanter or artificer, she will enchant herself, and this time yeah, she will once again go with... no, she will go with a let's stay with the... I'm really conflicted here what I should do. You can see this is quite an interesting game with a lot of options. Model regain, this is not able. Leash life, the enchanted model gains 1 HP for each wound dealt to an enemy model without the undead. She still has all her wounds, so she will go just with Spectral Sight to get advantage possible to hit the undead. And with that said, now let's start with... let's go with Nara, who will cast the Second Chance spell. The target model gains 1 HP. If the target model was incapacitated, it also regains 1 activation point. So it has a strike value of 2. She will cast that onto Sagan. Strike value 2. She has an intelligence of 13, therefore 13 or less. 16 and 3, which is enough to give Sagan 1 wound back. This is important. This is why it is important to keep Nara somehow alive, despite these low wounds. And now I'll just go with Sagan, who will attack the undead. I will just have a look at melee attack, suffers -3 modifier, would reduce it to 11, gains knockdown, suffers -1 strike, cannot be below 1. Yeah, I think I will keep it simple this time, and Sagan will just use his second wind, or before Sagan activates, Anari will activate, and Anari will cast on Sagan the Burning Touch for Sweep 1 and Burn 1. Here we are, Sweep 1, Burn 1. Just for the off chance to put another wound onto the undead. And now Sagan will attack. Sagan needs a 13 or less. Natural 1, 3 and 14. The undead needs a 14 or less to defend with a sword. It's a 9. The 9 will cancel out the 3, but the natural 1 will cancel out the 9, so therefore Sagan has a chance to wound with a total power of 15, ignoring the armor, 15 or less. This is just a 15, and now since it's the burn, it has the burn trait. And Undead does not confer, as far as I remember, affected by poison, weakened, bleeding, panicked. Mind Game does not work, and Heal, Divine do not restore HP, but instead do power. Okay, so the burn functions. Here's a second hit, ignoring the armor, 15 or less. 16 is sadly not enough, but it is enough to put a wound onto the... yeah, word is missing, onto the Forgotten Hero. So next, I will activate... will I activate Nara, Theros, Sagan? I think I will once again activate Sagan because this somehow worked. So Sagan will once again activate, still enchanted by a Nari. Another natural 1, luckily, because the other 2 are fumbles or miss. The Forgotten Hero rolls a 3, but with this he loses the confrontation to the natural 1, 15 or less. It's a 17, which is not enough. And the burn only activates if the model suffers a wound. So now, without any activation points left, Anari will once again activate. She will enchant Nara, giving her with Cutting Chill a little bit more power, so +2 power. And now Nara will spend her last activation this turn to get into contact. And I think I will just try to unleash Hail of Claws, because this time he's out of activation points. So 3 strikes, offense of 13, 6, 7, and an 18, sorry. 2 hits, power a total of 14, minus the armor of 6, is therefore 8 or less. It's a 9 and a 10, close but not enough, therefore the undead is still standing. This is a total of 4, so... yeah, Theros will also jump in, but the undead got a second token. With this, Theros will just use his Thenian crossbow to attack, because he can exploit the weak points. We have here a total tier 2 encounter, so 16 or less to hit, and he is definitely hitting despite the -4 for friendly fire. And he will, yeah, basically he will just exploit the weak tones to ignore the armor, giving him a critical hit. And 13 plus the 6 for assassination, 19 or less. It's a 7, which is enough to destroy the Forgotten Hero. So, and now what will Theros do? Standing where he is, he still has 1 activation left, and he has a weak point. Yeah, Theros will walk up to here and wait a turn. So now I have to reshuffle the deck with Brief Respite to prepare for the next hostile activation or turn. I will let you join afterwards. Okay, hostile turn. There's no hostile left, so let's see. Set an ambush. Spawn 1 tier 1 hostile on the space that has an intrigue token and is closest to the entrance. If there are no intrigues, spawn the hostile 1 space behind the last hero. I think these 2 would be the last from the exit. Behind them it is also possible, so 1 tier 1. I would say we are getting a Vengeful Spirit. And with this, the Vengeful Spirit, I will prepare it, and then the Vengeful Spirit will attack. Here we are with the Vengeful Spirit, who will immediately activate to get into the same space, because his weapon has only a reach of the same space. And it will attack Nara, as Nara is the healer. Nara will react by attacking with her War Club, No, she will dodge, but Sagan will trigger and he will attack by using his stone splitter since he has still the burn. So let's begin with the Vengeful Spirit needing a 10 or less to hit. It's a 7, it would hit. Nara will try to dodge, agility 12 or less. 19, she fails. Now the Vengeful Spirit needs at 10 or less here, toughness, to wound. With a 7, this is enough. Nara is still allowed to dodge. She's here, but gets down because she is immediately incapacitated because she only has 1 wound, which is really a problem right now, but we can put down this is the first hero who gets the incapacitated state. Now Sagan with his 2 attacks because of second wind, 14 or less. 13 and 14 are 2 hits. And this results in the Vengeful Spirit has no armor, so therefore 15 or less to wound. Since he has the burn quality, it is not halved. With a 3, this is enough to put a wound on the Vengeful Spirit. And this was actually enough to put Nara down, which is quite bad because the heroes have nothing to cure her with. Bleeding, crippled, poison, and weakened state. So with this, Nara is out of the game basically. Which is really bad because she was the healer. Now, getting back to the rest of the heroes. I think I will start with Theros. 1, 2, 3. He will trigger encounter 2. A patrolling ogre suddenly notices you. With a gradual shout, it collapses a stake fence behind it, blocking your passage. Place Oni Marauder on 4. 4 is right up here. No facing, but I assume it is into my direction. Place an obstacle between 4 and 5. This will be here, I assume. Yeah, it is 4 and 5. And superior loot token on 6 and 7. This will be 6 and 7. Here we are. And now finally encounter 3 on the exit. Here we are. Okay, with the Oni Marauder having his 2 activation points to react, Theros has still his action, and he will use his action by, just shooting. He will shoot at the Oni Marauder, who will try to dodge. Theros Assassination 1 needing a 16 or less. With a 15 he hits. The Oni Marauder 8 or less. 20 he fails, but speed of 2. Can dodge with 1 space closer. Now the he needs a 16 or less to wound, all in all. And with a 15 this is enough to wound the Oni Marauder. And Sagan will activate. He will run 1, 2, 3, 4, getting a little bit closer to the action. Wasn't here something with the frost immobilizer? Spray 3, 1, 2, 3. I think spray was 3 spaces. Let me just look it up. Sorry that today is a little bit slow from the play here. 45. But you can see as complex this game is. Spray. Affects all models within 3 in a straightforward line. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. But it's all models. So this is something I do not want to happen. So Theros will first activate. He will move 1, 2, 3. And then shoot once again at the Oni Marauder, who will use his second activation to once again try to dodge. 16 or less, it's a 4. 8 or less, it's a 13. And now once again, all in all, 16 or less to wound. With a 2, this is a second wound on the Oni Marauder, who approaches 1 space closer. Now Anari will activate. She will first go 1 space back here. Then she will try to cast the frost spell, 1, 2, 3 spaces, and power 11. But first of all, she has to make a successful casting roll of 14 or less. With a 9, this is successful. Target becomes immobilized on hit, so the Oni Marauder is already immobilized and trying to wound with 8 or less. With a 5, this is actually wound. Didn't expect that. So Oni Marauder already has 3 wounds. And with this, Anari will once again activate. And she will try to put some ice spikes into the Oni Marauder because strike 3, power 11. 14 or less. 16 is not a hit, but the 7 and the 6 are. 8 or less to wound. Natural 1 and a 2. This Oni Marauder was splattered by the ranged heroes. Surprisingly, but satisfying. So yeah, now Sagan. It's Sagan's turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. He will go ahead. Also, by the way, the obstacle can be removed if 4 heroes are present on 4 and one of them performs an interact. Okay, I will just correct this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because he has to grab Nara and get her onto the same space here. Because 4 heroes, Nara is still there. This will take some time. Therefore, he will not move anywhere else. Now, with the Sudden Ambush Gun, Hostile's turn. Terra's Embrace. Choose the hostile with the highest tier on the field. Each hero must. It's not the case. If there are no hostiles on the field, each hero failing the moral roll must walk towards the entrance. So, I will not roll for Nara because she's incapacitated. Sagan is fearless. Anari, 17 she fails, and Theros, 3 he passes. So 1, and yeah, I think she will just jump down, even when that's all she can do. Now the hero's turn. Sagan can grab Nara and can walk with half his speed, so 1 space. He will run. So dragging her 1, 2, 1, 2. This is really slow going now. Yeah, this is here. Now Theros will use a run action and drag Nara with him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He will does it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anari will climb and then use a run action. 1, 2, 3, 4. So next hostile's turn. Hateful Fortitude. 2 highest tier hostiles remove all states. If no hostile have states, they ignore new states until okay, and reshuffle into the deck. I will just reshuffle the deck and I'll see you afterwards. Okay, next turn of the heroes. Sagan will start with a run action. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then Anari will activate. 1, 2. And she will cast and she will use an interact action to remove the obstacle. Now we have the space. Did I miss to place encounter 3? Where does it say it? Encounter 3 is on the exit. Sorry, I just overlooked it. So with this, let's continue first with, yeah, Theros has not activated yet. And Nari activated one thing, activated once, yeah. Theros will activate. 1, 2, 3. He will make an interact action with the superior blue token. Let's see if Theros has some luck. It's a 13, Grapeshot Granite and Sulfuric Granite. I will just grab these. Do I have another possibility to get there? Not this turn. Yeah, I will go with Sagan before I get this. I will go with Theros the second time. He will attack with the second loop token. 13 and a 7. Protective Talisman. Okay, I will get the items and then I will continue with the turn. Theros has no activation points left. Okay, here we have the soporific grenade, which is targetless and affected model must perform a roll with half movement value. If failed, they become incapacitated under that strategic phase. And we have with the Grape Shop just some damage on a small blast. Protective Talisman we already know. I totally forgot that Anari can use all this downtime occasionally to get mana token just in case. And with all this, I will just get the activation points back. Hostile turn. Let's draw Reckless Abandon. Tier 1 hostile gains sweep 1 for this hostile turn and shuffle it into the deck. Let me just put it down here. Let it, not this one, let it just here, there, just a little bit. Whatever this is now. I hope this is shuffled enough, but I didn't want to stop the recording just for this. And now, let's see what we will do. Just to be a little bit more protective, Theros will activate and he will dodge towards the exit. 1, 2, triggering it, still having a movement and 2 squares from the dodge. But let's see what encounter 3 happens. Finally, you arrive at the summit gateway. Before you stands a 2-story timber frame gatehouse, making the first way station of the trail, a crucial checkpoint for those traveling the ranges to reach Bojo. As you approach the structure, a rough yet feminine voice resonates through the air, sending shivers down your spine. Welcome to our humble abode. Goran is my name, she purrs and gives a deep bow. Your eyes shoot up to the roof of the structure, where a figure with crimson skin stands pompously, one arm flung across her shoulder, holding a giant sword that no human could wield with one hand in a relaxed pose. You've come far, she chortles. But where are my manners? With a swift jump, she descends and lands a few paces in front of you, causing the ground to crack beneath her weight. You recall, taken aback by the sound. She possesses a frightening human appearance, save for her crimson skin and pointed horns that betray her true nature. Sagan. His eyes widen in recognition. The weight of the Keshobarai finds crashing down on him. They had spoken of such a being, an evolution beyond monstrosity achieved through unspeakable acts. The only human guise was no more deception. It was a grotesque sacrifice, sustained by the devouring of countless lives. His breath catches. It can't be, he murmurs, his voice barely about a whisper. They exist after all, a Rosetsu. What brings you here? She sinks, her voice laced with madness. Her movements are erratic, as if delighted to have company, as if the guests she invited finally arrived bearing gifts. Though she wears a smile, her more is anything but pleasant, carrying an air of derangement. After no one replies, her movement halts. Suddenly her shoulders slouch and her expression sours. It seems you lack manners. Why should I waste mine? She snarls, finally revealing her true nature with a mouthful of razor-sharp teeth. We place Gurren on the exit. And for this I'm using the competitive play season 1 model, because this is the one I have painted so far. Next to Sagan, if there are fewer than 2 loot tokens on the field, the distracted hostile rule is cancelled. Yeah, it is. During the hostile turn, when hostiles activate, all hostiles without line of sight of the hero will walk towards the closest hero. Once they gain line of sight, they will resume use their standard hostile behavior. If 3 or more heroes become incapacitated, read Secret Lock A5. If Gurren's hit points drop below 4, read Secret Lock A5B. So, Gurren and the Red Rosetsu is a boss type enemy of exploiting heroes' weak points. When a hero has 1 weak point and Gurren performs an attack, she exploits the weak point. Her attack gains unstoppable. The heroes cannot leave through the exit as long as Gurren is present on the field. So, since Gurren just spawned, she will get 3 activation points. And let's look on her behavior card. Using Berserk and Demon when able, line of sight enemy within target of attack. Yeah, so since she has line of sight to Theros, and he luckily said that he will dodge, she will use her Berserk 3, which has crippling. Yeah, come on, can we get it? Okay, here crippling, yeah, we go. And yeah, she will immediately activate and try to strike with her defense of 13 against Theros' agility of 13, defense of 13. 16 she misses, luckily, so we still have 1 and 2. 1 and 2. No, I will go here. Next, he will once again 1, 2, 3, goes a few spaces back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, still within range. And he will attack with his Thanian crossbow once again. This time Gurren will use dodge towards attacker. So Gurren will dodge. With a 3, she managed to roll beneath her agility. Theros would have hit, but Gurren dodged. She has a movement of 3, therefore she is allowed to dodge 1, 2 spaces closer. And she has a reach of 1. Which is now bad, because Anari and Sagan are within reach. And they are engaged, therefore they cannot use any ranged attacks, which was my original plan with the Frost. So Anari will use a dodge action. No, Sagan will attack first, because Sagan has also still activation points left and Gurren only has 1. So Sagan will activate. He will walk right into the space of Gurren. Gurren will activate and will try to attack, while Sagan also will attack. And she has a defense of only 13. Sagan has an offense of 13, it's an equal. Sagan will still try to use second wind to get more attacks. So Gurren has only 1 attack, 13 or less. It's a 14, so this gamble paid off. Sagan, 3 strikes, needing 13 or less. These are 2 hits. The 18 is nothing. Armor of 3. Total power of 13, 15, so 12 or less to wound. 15 and 17 is not enough. But now Sagan can activate again. 1, 2, getting 2 spaces back, so that Anari can activate, and she will use her Frost spell to cast it on a Gurren. Let's see, 14 or less. It's a 4, which is enough to hit her, and target becomes immobilized on hit, which will most likely be the whole tactic this time, because Gurren, with her toughness of 15, 19, cleave sweep 1, she's really a beast, especially with 3 attacks and Berserk. Will the power of 11 hit her? She needed an 8 or less, so no wound. And now with the next, she will go 2 spaces back, and she will try the ice spikes. 3 strikes, 14 or less, 3 hits, and with the 11 or less, she needs minus the armor of 3, 8 or less. And it's actually 1 wound, but Gurren has the Berserker class, so she can make a toughness check of 15 or less to ignore the first wound. With a 16, she ignores it. So, since Gurren is immobilized, No movement or special act. Cancel with successful dodge roll. Agility or toughness. When dodging, cannot move or enter. Cancel scroll check unless successful. So, activation points are allocated. Now, let me just put down these. We have Dense Haze. If there's no weather card, which currently is not the case, the entire field is considered hazy environment. So, and the hazy environment, no range attack through from outside, range attacks into against target inside, half attack modifier. And attacks with melee reach 1 or more suffer -3 attack modifier. Luckily, with Batu, Theros is able to ignore the hazy condition, the hazy environment. So Gurren will first activate, and she will try to get out, which will trigger some reactions. And she will use her foresight and wait what will happen with the result. The other choose. Sagan will throw the headshot. Luckily, I still got a range attack. And Theros will throw the firecrackers because they give stagger. So if Gurren is hit, she will use 1 activation point. As you can see, this is will be basically my tactic. So Gurren will try with a 15 or less to get out. This is cocked. With a 2, she will definitely get out. And this will cause Anari to also to activate 2. And Anari will try to cast and Water Lash to get knocked back 2 onto Gurren. So Gurren is out of the immobilized, but since range attacks have half an attack modifier, and Anari needs an 7 or less. 17 is not enough. Sagan has an agility of 10, therefore he needs a 5 or less, which is absolutely not enough. And the headshot is just away. And Theros, Firecracker, ignoring the hazy, he can now, it's a blast, he needs a 13 or less. And a 15 is just not enough. He misses. Or is there a rule for the blast radius? I think it was 45. I still believe that he has to make an attack. Yeah, he still needs an attack. So this is sad because this was a great opportunity. Now with all this, Gurren's second activation. She can close in to Sagan, getting here with her second activation, and she will attack him. Where will she go? Sorry, not the reactive card, but the active. Walk towards enemy, stop 1 inch away. Yeah, she will do that. And since Sagan has a weak point, she will exploit it and get the unstoppable, which means that all of her attacks cannot be will go beside a confrontation. And with this, Sagan will try to dodge. Yeah, Sagan will just try to dodge, spending his activation point. And with this, Gurren has stamina, strike equals stamina of 3. Before that, I will just see if Sagan is able to dodge with a 10 or less. With a 7, he successfully dodged, so therefore Gurren needs critical hits. With a 6, a 14 and an 18, she failed to hit Sagan, who will dodge closer just so that his teammates will not be hit. And now Gurren will activate her 3rd time and will attack Sagan, who is now defenseless. And with this, I'm thinking about targetless effect must perform. It's also an area of effect. He will try to use it later. So yeah, Gurren will attack Sagan. needing a 16 or less to hit. Natural 20 misses, but the 9 and the 14 are hits. So 20 goes up there. And now with the 2 hits, as I said, she has 19 in total, minus Sagan's armor of 5, 14 or less to wound. And let's see. It's just 1 hit, but since it's a cleave ability, it will hit for 2 damage, and with this Sagan will go down, which is the second token I will get for the Veteran's Intuition, which with this will unlock it. And I will have to read A5 on page 115. A5A. 118, sorry. 118 and A5A. The Razatsu tears through the party with brutal efficiency, leaving you sprawled and battered as she surveys the devastation. Her face twists into a mask of cruelty. Nearby, faint rustling draws your attention. Gurren clicks her tongue in irritation, glazing over a semi-humanoid Oni stepping into view. The blue-skinned figure walks with precise, deliberate steps, her demeanor calm and composed. You were told to stay within our bounds, the blue Oni says, her voice sharp yet measured. Hunting here is reckless, and it will not go unnoticed. Leave before she learns of this. Gurren's irritation flares, her fiery gaze darkens. Tenma, Ao, and I have agreed. The blue Oni cuts her off with a curt wave, pivoting and leaving without another word. Well, I've lost my appetite, Gurren growls, her attention snapping back to you. Her sneers deepens, laced with visible disappointment. I expected more from you, she hisses, her fiery eyes narrow in disdain. With a dramatic wave of her clawed hand, she gestures towards the western mountain path. Lucky for you, I'm feeling generous tonight. Find me at Mountaintop Manor, defeat me in my domain, and I'll allow you to meet Lady Shiomima. Stopping down, she snatched up one of your fallen weapons, examining it briefly before tossing it back towards you with a flick of her wrist. I would love to see you squirm. Her mocking laughter rings through the mountain pass, reverberating off the rocky cliffs as she turns away. With erratic forceful strides, she bounds into the snow of the winding halls. You have completed the quest. Return to quest ending. Okay, unexpected, but it's fine, especially since she's a monster. It's a tier 4 monster. Now the ending. After the brutal crash with the Berserk Oni, your party withdraws. Searching, let me just get it into view. Withdraws, searching for shelter. Every breath is labored, every limb heavy with exhaustion. Then movement. A cloaked figure steps from the shadows, his presence calm yet commanding. You draw your weapon on instinct, but recognize halts you. Beneath his cloak, an honorate plaque inlaid with a crimson gemstone swings at his waist. A guild-sworn knight. The insignia is unmistaken. One of the guild's elites sent only on missions of dire importance. Just as quickly you lower your weapons. Asano had spoken of guild agents moving ahead of the expedition. This must be one of them. It's good to see others still standing in this accused place, the knight says, his voice measured, his gaze sharp as it sweeps over your party. He studies your injuries, your weariness, but says nothing of them. Instead, he gestures you to follow. You obey without question. Once in a more secure location, he works with practiced precision, tending to your wounds in silence. There is no wasted movement, no unnecessary word, only the steady touch of a man well versed in battlefield wounds. When at last he speaks, his voice is weighted. Only 4 of you remain? His eyes meet yours piercing. I was expecting to find an army. You recount the ambush, the sudden attack, the overwhelming force, the staggering loss. The knight listens without interruption, his expression unreadable. I see, his voice is quiet but final. He does not ask for more. Then you are alone in this mission. He is silent for a moment before he continues, his words slow, deliberate. I cannot remain with you. I must fulfill my own mission, but I can offer you a little guidance I have. His hand rises, gesturing towards the fork in the road ahead. The western path leads into Gurren's domain. The Oni gather there in great numbers. The eastern path belongs to another Razetsu, a place thick with the dead. There are few Oni here, but the restless spirits are seldom kind to the living. Then there's the valley, he hesitates, his voice lowering. It once belonged to a third clan, but now is silent. We scouted its outskirts, and something moved within that fog. Stone darkens, but the path itself is the quickest to traverse. He turns his gaze eastward toward Mount Bordeaux. Its cleaved summit distant, looming on the horizon. Even from here, its peak glows faintly with a pulsing violet light. Most of them are near that peak. He exhales, his breath curling in the cold air. At the heart of it all is sorceress Hiohima. She is no mere Oni, she wields power great enough to shake the balance. The guild fears that she could bring about, and if we do not stop her, I fear the worst. He crosses his arm, expressed grims. They only have been systematically destroying shrines in the west, far too deliberate for mindless beasts, and in the east there are traces of profound rituals, powerful magic is at work. His gaze meets yours, sharp and unwavering. Disrupt them if you can. Perhaps it will weaken them. He pauses before adding, She is waiting at the blood moon. His voice is heavy with certainty. For what purpose, I can only guess, but this mountain range was once a place of power, and it is no accident the Oni are here. His grim work sinks in. Exhaustion presses down on your party. After a brief rest, the Gilsor Knight rises first. May we meet again. With a final nod, he turns and disappears down the separate path, quickly vanishing from sight. Fully restore HP and of all heroes and remove their weak points. Level up all heroes to level 2. Replace the level 1 profile with the level 2 profile. And now we have to select our path forward. We are up to Arc 2. Before I do that, and before I forget it, I will just turn the moon dial 1 space further. So, sadly, this feels like a loss. It was quite interesting to get an introduction to Gurren. And with this shot of the miniature, I will see you for the next quest where I will decide which path to go. Until then, have a good day and bye.